universe of beer and music.
Greetings. Welcome. If this is your first visit, special welcome. Sit back and stay a while. And for my returning viewers, the warmest of welcomes. Tonight is a special night. It's a challenge night. I had been challenged by a subscriber to find a beer to pair with a particular song. The particular song in question is by Megadeth. The song is Sweating Bullets. Gotta admit, it's a pretty good song. I always liked Megadeth when I was a kid. Good stuff, fun. Spoke a lot about darkness and mental anguish and politics and stuff. So it was always kind of interesting. But this particular song was a challenge because it really explores schizophrenia of sorts. So I really wanted to find a beer that reflected that, a beer that reflects maybe not knowing exactly what it is because it's so many different things. So tonight we're going with something a little special. You can see Cork and Cage. Ooh, fancy, fancy. This is by Russian River Brewing Company out of Windsor, California. Russian River is one of the OGs when it comes to West Coast IPAs. You may or may not be familiar with a little beer called Pliny the Elder, which is widely regarded as one of the founding fathers of West Coast IPAs. But that's not what we're drinking tonight. That's far too straightforward. It's a beer that knows what the hell it is. This beer, on the other hand, is called Propitation. Comes in at 6% ABV. And it is a sour porter. So right off the bat, we're off the reservation. A sour porter aged 12 months in Petite Syrah wine barrels. Yeah, you heard that right. Their description is dry and light in body with rich roasted malt notes of chocolate and coffee and subtle fruit aromatics imparted by the wine barrels. This beer has a crisp mouthfeel, lively carbonation, and mildly tart finish. Personally, I think they're underselling the beer just a little bit. But let's talk a little bit about Russian River, because they're a little bit different too. Most breweries, craft breweries, start as typically a home brewer, a couple of home brewers get the bug and decide, hey, let's go commercial. Let's sell our beer to people and grow from there. Sometimes get bought out by a big conglomerate. Russian River was originally established in 1997 by Korbel Champagne Cellars, the company that makes Korbel Champagne, Korbel Wines. After 6 years, Korbel decided they wanted out and sold the brand and the recipes and the rights to their head brewer, Vinny Salurzo. Vinny, if I slaughtered your last name, my apologies. They opened their first brew pub in 2004, and as I'd mentioned before, they're one of the OGs when it comes to West Coast IPAs. Also a little bit odd is the Petite Syrah grape. That's the grape that Petite Syrah wine is made out of. It is an exceptionally rare grape with only 10,000 acres planted worldwide, mostly now in California and the Pacific Northwest. It is prized for its extraordinarily deep color and full-bodied flavors of blueberry, chocolate, plums, and black pepper. Sounds like a grape that doesn't know exactly what it is. It's actually the offspring of the Syrah variety grape and the Peloursin grape. Peloursin is nearly extinct and only found in just a few places in the French Alps. So that kind of gives you an idea of how off the beaten path that grape is, the wine that comes from the grapes is, and commensurately this beer. But let's take a look. Oh, that was anticlimactic. There you have it. Oh man, I can smell it from here. Right off the bat, I am smelling the wine. I'm smelling the Petite Syrah. But it is a very dark beer, little hazy. Um, the reason you can't see through it very well is more due to the darkness of the beer than it is the clarity of the beer. Yeah, I can just get some light through it. It's a deep brown with some like garnet highlights. Very thin, insubstantial head. From a porter, a barrel-aged porter, I'm not expecting a whole lot with respect to voluminous head. Wow. Wow, yeah, this beer doesn't know it's a beer. This beer thinks it's wine because that's what it smells like. Question is, what does it taste like? Dry and light in body. I'll give them that. They're right. I am getting some dark chocolate, some roasted black coffee, a little bitter even. I disagree with them on the subtlety of the fruit aromatics, however. It is strongly flavored with wine barrel. I get the wine, I get tannins from the barrel. Definitely some tart sourness on the finish. It's a little weird in that beers that have any type of hop character to them usually finish with the hop character. This beer, I get the hop character about 3/4 of the way through, 3/4 of the way back on the palate, and I get some bitterness. But then that gives way to sourness. It's the sour that lingers into the finish, and it is a pretty dry finish. It definitely is a finish that, wow, even after you swallow, you come back to it, and I can still taste the black coffee on the tip of my tongue. But it is definitely a finish that requires that you take another drink because it is a nice dry finish that encourages that. Definitely a beer that is going to confuse some people because it's so many other things than just a beer. And the beer nature of it can get lost at times. The beer nature of it can get overpowered by the wine nature of it. But hey, I think subscriber Dan, I think you're going to have to admit, nailed it. Of course I did. So let's check out the song. All right, let's delve into this hit by Megadeth. A band that, in its own way, is kind of schizophrenic. They had a very long career, but were a literal revolving door of different musicians coming and going at different times in the band. Most often because Dave Mustaine fired them. I'm sure he had his reasons. Let's check it out.
Hello, me. Meet the real me. And my misfits way of life. A dark black past is my most valued possession. Hindsight is always 20/20. But looking back, it's still a bit fuzzy. Speak of mutually assured destruction. Nice story. Gotcha. Paranoid to enemy or fostering. Anxiety's attacking me. My hair is getting thin. I'm in trouble for the things I haven't got to yet. I'm jumping at the bit and my palms are getting wet. Hello, me, it's me again. You can subdue but never tame. It gives me a migraine headache. Sinking down to your level. Yeah, just keep on thinking it's my fault. And stay an inch or two out of kicking death. Mankind has got to know his limitations. Claustrophobic like the walls are closing in. Bloodstains on my hands and I don't know where I've been. I'm in trouble for the things I haven't got to yet. I'm sharpening the ass and my palms are getting wet. Well, me, it's nice talking to myself. A credit to dementia. Someday you too will know my pain and silence black tooth grin. If the war inside my head won't take a day off, I'll be dead. My icy fingers claw your back. Here I come again. Paranoid to enemy of offering. Anxiety's attacking me. My hair is getting thin. Once you committed me, committed you, committed me, claiming validity for your stupidity.
How'd that one feel? Pretty good, huh? So that was Sweating Bullets, the third single off of their 1992 album, Countdown to Extinction. Pretty big hit for them. Did you get that list of musicians? They just couldn't settle on a lineup, apparently. But it seemed to pay off for him. 16 studio albums over the course of 40 years. That's a lot of production. 5 of those albums platinum. Even nominated for Grammys 12 times along the way. Only won once, though. In 2017 for Dystopia, Best Metal Performance. But they were always a fun band. Always liked them. Still do. So there's that for the challenge. DrTangent wins again. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe even. If you do subscribe, hit that notification bell because I'm putting out new content at least every week. But most importantly, leave me a comment. If you have a question about craft beer, brewing, music, life, some of this crap I have on the wall behind me, leave it in the comments. If you have a challenge for me, definitely drop that in the comments. I'm looking forward to it. In the meantime, keep drinking.